This conference will now be recorded.
So, last class, if you observe, we are just discussing about some network security group and network security rule, and what is the reason to go for network security group as well. And same thing we have implemented practically as well, right? So, just we have created some resource group, ritual network, and sub network, and then we have created some network security group. Once this network security group in which we had created, so this thing just we have attached to the respect to ritual machine, whatever the ritual machine in which you have created. Or while creating a virtual machine, we have added the network security group concept as well. So these things we will discuss it practically as well, right? So today we're going to discuss about a small concept within this network security group, right? So that is nothing but importance of priority. So if you observe where we have got this priority, basically that is in networking options. Networking. So where we're going to get this option here in the virtual machine, basically. Of inbound. So just we're discussing about importance of priority, basically. Okay. So first of all, let us try to create some virtual machine. So just log into your account and sign in. So create resource group, account create. So maybe some Azure test, next tags, next event create. Finally click on create. So go to home, try to create some virtual network, click on create. So select the respective resource group. Maybe I'm going with some Azure test hyphen create. Okay, so next IP address 10.11.0.0/6. Add subnet Azure test underscore subnet 10.11.1.0/24. Click on add. So click on next security, next tags, next review and create. Finally click on create. So here just we are creating virtual network and as well as subnetwork as well, basically. So it is created basically. Okay. So now just I'm trying to create a virtual machine basically. So just click on create virtual machine. Select the respective resource group as of test, and then I'm creating maybe some line execution. Some name you can provide, whatever the name it can be. Go with password. So one on none. Next, this is go with the standard SSD. Next, networking. So here you're going to get basically the respective virtual network and the respective subnet here. Click on next management, disable, next advanced, next tags, next you can create. So if this validation is passed, right? So finally click on create. So it is created. So just what we have done, we have created resource group, virtual network, and then we have created some subnetwork, and finally we have created some virtual machine. So if you observe here, we have created some Linux machine, right? So are we going to able to access this virtual machine directly? Is it possible here? Or otherwise, how can we access this respective virtual machine? Any of you?
Using putty,
Yes, using putty. But if you want to access by using putty, what we need to do?
we need to open a port.
Yes, basically we need to configure this inbound port, right? So what is the default port for putty here? So it is a 22. This is the default port for putty, basically. So port for SSH. So hello is software. Click on add. So it is created basically. So go to overview. So now if you want to access this respective virtual machine, so we're able to access this by using this public IP address, and we need to paste it to putty software basically. So you can click on open, click on accept, and provide the username and password. So just we are able to access to this respective machine. So now if you observe in this networking, basically here we're having some priority, right? We're having some 100, and we have given some name, and this is the default port for putting protocol, some any source, any destination, any action allow, right? So this thing is fine basically. Okay, so now here if you observe, we're going to discuss about this priority, importance of this priority. Here, if you observe, this priority value is currently it is an 100 basically, right? Okay. So now here within this machine, within this Linux machine, so if I want to install some Nginx server, okay, so Nginx is one of the application server basically. Okay, so if you want to install that respective server within this respective Linux machine or within this Putty console, so first of all we need to navigate to root user. So that is by using sudo space su space hyphen. So now currently if you observe, we are in root user, right? So now if you want to install some software or install some server within this respective Putty console, right? So first of all we need to go for updates. So generally if you observe in Windows operating system, if you're getting some updates, so you're going to get some notification, right? So some notifications you're going to get it. So it can be some notifications or basically we're going to get some pop-ups whenever if you are starting of that respect to your laptop, or it can be your desktops, something like that, right? So but here in Linux we are not able to get any notifications or any alerts. So whenever if some software is updated, or if some it can be related to some updates related to maybe some operating system point of view, right? Or it can be some software point of view, it can be any updates. Okay, so now if you want to take that respect to updates irrespective of the operating system, or if already some software, some inbuilt software is already going to be installed, right, basically. So if you want to take that respect to updates, we're having a predefined command called as a sudo apt update. So what is the command here? Sudo apt. This is the command. So just it is going to take the updates. It can be related to operating systems, or it can be related to software as well. It can be anything. Just it's going to update all the necessary things. So just click on enter. So if you observe, mostly it has taken updates related to Ubuntu. I mean, OS level it is taking some updates basically. Okay. So now here if you want to install some Nginx server, okay, sudo apt install Nginx hyphen y on enter. Here now it is installing some Nginx server within this respective virtual machine. So one way is you can cross check. So once if this server is installed in this respective Linux machine, you can cross check whether this Nginx server is installed or not. So just go to overview, right? Just copy this IP address and paste it here. So you can copy the public IP address of respective virtual machine in any of the web browsers basically. So are we able to access here? If you observe, we are not able to access. So what is the reason? Any of you? We are not able to access the IP address of the specific virtual machine, right? Why we are not able to access here? First of all, you got my question. We have installed some Nginx server in the respect to Linux machine. So what I'm saying, so if you want to know whether this Nginx server is installed or not, so one way we can cross check it is So just we can copy paste the public IP address of that respective virtual machine in any of the browser. So just I copy pasted that respective IP address in the respective browser. So now if you observe here, we are not able to access. So it is saying something. We can't reach this page. Something it is saying. Something it is saying. Right. So what is the reason why we are not able to access this web page, or it can be some Nginx server? Why we are not able to access here? So reason is, so if you observe, it is HTTP port, right? So it is HTTP. So HTTP is also having some a default port number as an 80. Okay, HTTP is also having some default port number called as an 80. Okay, so now we need to tell to this Linux machine, please allow this HTTP port as well. Okay, so go to this networking. So just we have allowed only PuTTY software. That is the reason we are able to access this Linux machine by using PuTTY. So we did not tell to this respective virtual machine. So allow this respective HTTP port. So now we are saying this respective virtual machine by adding this inbound port row. So here try to make it as an 80 port for HTTP. So allow HTTP port. And so it is role is created basically, right? So now if you refresh it here, is added, copy this IP address. Here, if you observe, now we're getting some welcome page to Nginx server. Some welcome page. So welcome to Nginx. So we have installed some Nginx server right here within this respective PuTTY console, and we have got some output as well. So we can say that so Nginx server is installed in this respective virtual machine. Okay. So this is the, so why we are getting now output here, because we have allowed this respective HTTP port. Okay. So if you observe these respective ports basically, right? So initially we have got priority as 100. Now we have got some 110. So if I'm trying to add a one more port, maybe some, okay, double port. So it is related to HTTPS basically. Yes. So if you observe now here, we are getting some priority as a 130. So what is the conclusion? So here, whenever if you're trying to add some security rule, right? So by default, this priority is incremented by 10. So here we have got some 100, now 110. So now if you're trying to add something, we're going to get some 120. If you're trying to add a one more security rule, we're going to get some 130. Means this priority value is incremented automatically by 10 by default. Okay, by default this priority value is going to be incremented by 10. So now here what I'm going to do is, so instead of here I'm going with some 80. Okay, so priority I'm giving as maybe some 108. Okay, so I'm specifying some priority value as a 108. Okay, so this is also port for, if you observe, this is port for 8, nothing but 8 is a for HTTP only, right? So I'm giving some HTTP 1. This is HTTP port something, and here instead of action hello, I'm providing deny as an action. Okay, click on add. Let's go. So it is created basically, right? So if you observe here, this is the thing. So we given some priority as a 108, and we have given some name. Port is 80, protocol any, source is any, destination is any, and action as an delay, right? So now if you try to refresh this uh, same IP address, so are we able to access this URL? Not URL, sorry. Are we able to access this IP address here? So we are not able to access. So what is the reason? Any of you? So here you need to observe two things. So one is I already given some already I clearly mentioned here. So try to allow this HTTP port. Okay, please allow HTTP port. So that thing I already configured in this Linux machine one. So if you observe, we have got the output as well. Welcome to Linux. So now what I have done, I have given some priority as a 108. So I have given some port as a 80, same HTTP port, and I have given some action as a deny. So now whenever if you're trying to access this IP address of this respective Linux machine, we are not able to get the output. So if you copy paste it here, it is saying some we are not able to access. Simply we can say that we are not able to access the Nginx welcome page. So what is the reason? Any of you? First of all, I have got my question. Hello. So is the
Yes,
concept
yes.
is fine till now? First of all, any
Yeah,
questions?
clear.
Concept is clear till now. What are the things which are discussed?
Yes, clear, Shiva.
Sure.
Yes, sure.
So now why we are not able to access this Nginx server, or why we are not able to access this IP address basically? So simple. The reason is if you observe priority level, right? So Linux mission 1 is giving importance for 108 priority when compared to 110. Okay, otherwise we can simply say that so priority number with less value will have more importance when compared with priority number with high value. So Linux machine is giving importance only with priority with less number when compared to priority with more number or high value, priority number with a high value. So if you observe here, 108 is having a less value, I mean less priority, right? So this 108 is giving high priority in Linux machine 1 when compared to 110. So that is the reason we are not able to access this Nginx server. So priority number with less value will have more importance when compared with priority number with high value. So that is the reason we are not able to access this Nginx server. So is it fine? Why we are not able to access?
Yes, sure.
So now, what is the conclusion here? Importance of priority networking. What is the conclusion? So what we have done till now. So let us assume I am creating a new inbound port rule. Same HTTP port or for same HTTP, but with priority equal to 108. Okay, and the action equal to DNAME. Remaining things is same. I mean, if you go with some source is any, destination is any, this thing is anything is fine. This thing basically. Okay. So after creating above HTTP inbound port rule, we are unable to access Nginx server. So the reason is priority number with less value will have more importance when compared with priority number with high value. Okay, so this is the reason. Okay, so if you observe, just I want to remove this 108. So just I'm deleting this one. So it is deleted basically if you observe in the network. Here we don't have 108 priority value, right? Now if you try to access this one here, welcome to Nginx. So it is very clear that priority number with less value will have more importance when compared with priority number with value. Okay. So any doubts here? Any of you?
Yeah.
First of all, you have understand the concept. Sorry.
Can we rename the priority number?
Rename means
Update and
sorry. Hello.
for example, 110 is there. Can I modify that? Can I
Yes, you can
rename this
modify.
priority number 112
Yes.
instead of
Yes.
deleting?
Yes.
Can I rename?
Yes.
Modify, right? Okay. Okay. Siva, do we need any other port numbers also for
Other
interview point
port
of view
number
or
means
job for interview point of view or job point of view? Because I
so
understood
here
80 port number 80, port number 22, those things, and 443 remaining also. Is it required?
yes for each and every let us assume whatever things which you want in this Linux machine. Okay. So let us assume I want to allow some maybe some what we call HTTPS, right? So then compulsory we need to uh, we need to update to this Linux machine, right? Please allow this software or please allow this HTTP port. So if you go for HTTP port, it is having some predefined port as an
443.
HTTP, yes, HTTPS port for 43. So this thing we need to configure. So whatever thing which you want to allow in this respect to Linux machine one, so we need to configure basically. So mostly we're having some SSH, HTTP, HTTPS. So mostly these things only we can allow basically. So if you observe in we have installed some Nginx server, right? So Nginx server we are not configuring any port here basically. Basically we are able to access only by using HTTP. That is sufficient, right? So like that. So even Nginx server is also having some default port. Here by default is having some 80 or 443. If it is HTTP 80 or HTTPS 443. So here we already configured, right? So we no need to configure separately like that. Here 80 or 840, 443 is getting. So that is the reason we explicitly no need to configure some Nginx server port because HTTP port itself it is sufficient, right? So like that. Fine. Any doubts?
For example, if I want to give the access to Gmail or Google, so I have to, how can we give that?
Google, if you observe, it is HTTPS, right? Basically. So this is HTTPS. Need to hello HTTPS port.
Okay.
We need to allow port. Even Gmail also same thing, right? It is also HTTPS. Secure. It is secure basically. HTTPS is the secure. So just we need to allow the HTTPS 443. That's it.
Okay. So we cannot allow or disallow these sites, right? We can only allow and disallow the port numbers only. Whatever the sites coming with the HTTPS and HTTP, our server we can use through our server, right? Am I correct?
I did not
He-
get you.
Yeah, here my question is, in my corporate office, I am using my laptop, my system, but in that system, they are not. I'm not able to access the Google, Gmail, everything. So
Mhm.
those restrictions belongs to Linux, my machine, right? It is dependent on my machine, right?
So your machine is belongs to company.
Yeah, company's machine. I'm
Okay,
not able to
company is
open that
not allowed.
Google like my manager is able to open that Google Mails, Google like that. So those type of instructions will given in the machine level, or I mean Linux machine level,
No,
or
no, machine level we can provide. That thing we're discussing actually in upcoming classes.
okay, okay, thanks. Okay.
So if you don't want to allow some specific site, let us assume. So Google, within the Google, we're having. So let us assume Google is the main domain, www.google.com, right? So within that Google, we're having. We can go with some assume it as an subdomains like gmail.com or maybe some youtube.com. These are the what we can say that these are the subdomains of Google. Let us assume. Okay. So even if you observe google.com, it is a parent domain, and we can say that. So here, whenever if you are clicking on this Gmail hyperlink, so if you observe at the left corner, we are getting some HTTPS 2/mail.google.com. So here mail.google.com. So mail is nothing but a subdomain of google.com as a parent domain. So like that, not only Gmail, even if you go with some YouTube as well. See here, we're getting some youtube.com directly, right? So if you observe some Gmail, mail.google.com. So here mail is nothing but a subdomain of google.com. Maybe some Google Drive. So it getting
We
some drive.google.com. So
we are not able to
here
see any screen.
Sorry,
We are not able to see that link. You
which
clicked
link?
in Gmail, right? YouTube, those things.
So
When you
here you're
refer.
getting right left side. In India, we're having some left side. You're getting at down https mail.google.com, right? If you
Okay,
observe.
left side bottom, right, right. Understood.
So
Okay,
like that, even if you observe drive, so drive.google.com. Here drive is nothing but a subdomain.
okay,
Google.com is a parent domain. So if you are not allowing this parent domain, so this complete subdomains itself it will not allow. Basically, that is a simple concept. So where we need to do, I mean, where we need to configure. So let us assume this Linux machine one is there, right? So I have given some credentials. So I am providing my username and password. So same way, company is also going to provide some username password, right? So once if you provide that username password for that respect to Linux machine or for that respect to Windows machine, right? So for that specific user, I don't want to, I mean, maybe some Google itself, I don't want to access to that specific user. So I don't want to allow any website, maybe some Google itself. I don't want to allow that specific user. So maybe some Windows machine I have given, that is Azure. Instead of Linux machine, I have given some Windows virtual machine. So how to do that things practically, we're going to discuss where we need to configure or where we need to modify. So these things we will discuss. Okay, in our upcoming classes. Let's go. Okay.
okay.
So any doubts till now? Anything required? No doubts? Any of you?
Regarding one dot actually. So, for example, I have 10 people in my organization. I want one Linux machine. In the Linux machine, I have one server. So all the people has to uh, use that VM machine only. So I have to give the password to all the people, right? That, for
No,
example, if they are connecting, okay, they are connecting through
not at all
SDK.
required. So then if that is your requirement, so then what we need to do, the 10 virtual machines we need to connect in a LAN network, right? Local area network. Okay, so let us assume, so this 10th machine is a server. So as you mentioned, this remaining 9 machines, so let us assume each and every person is working on their respective tasks, or they're developing some application. Let us assume these 9 are developers, they are developing some application. So now they want to deploy this application. Let us assume. So as I mentioned you, it is a local area network. So you can copy paste this respect to war or jar file in any of the common folder. So the same folder or the same file, it is going to be available in the 10th machine as well. So where you can deploy that your jar or war file in that respective server. That's it, right? You got my point?
Yes, okay.
So no need to give access for all and each and every developer to access that respect to server basically. So you can copy paste that respect to jar file. So just you can deploy that jar file in the 10th machine, whoever it can be. So it can be deployed by maybe developer or maybe some, it means anybody basically. So we can say that, let us assume that 10th machine is having some URL like this, right? Or maybe some this type of IP address they're having, right? So that IP address can be accessed within that company's network. The 10 people can access this URL, right? So they can cross check whether their whatever the code changes they have done, so whether it is reflected or not. They can check it. They can cross check it basically. Okay. Is your doubt is clarified?
Okay, but my question is, for example, I have one SAP software is there. I purchased the software and I installed in one virtual machine. I have 10 users who are I want to connect. Can I give those 10 people this virtual machine's user ID password, because I don't want to install those SAP software with the 10 virtual machines. So that is my requirement. Is it the same, sir? You're saying?
I did not get your question actually.
Uh, okay, tomorrow I will explain, because I too prepare well that question.
Okay. Any doubts, any of you? So that's all for today.